Welcome to Confessions of a Plant-Powered Sisterhood, where we discuss
sex,
life, and aging in our
40s,
50s,
and 60s with
Catherine Lawrence,
Brooke Ali,
and Dr. T. That's me. We're so excited to be here and share our take on today's topic, the scoop on current fasting protocols and approaches and how it relates to women. Yay.
Yeah,
Yay.
This is exciting. It's all over. I feel like it's
know.
the hot thing to do.
It definitely is.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so onto it too. I mean, there's different ones. You've got the intermittent fasting, you've got 24-hour, 48, 3-day, you know, and
3-day
then
water
you've
fast
got
is
the
popular.
water only fasting, where people can go and be medically supervised and do it for 30 days, or I don't know what's the maximum, 40 days. And I know there's one in Santa Rosa, California that they do. It's all plant-based, SOS free, where they train people, like to change their diet afterwards.
Yeah,
too.
True North.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, True North.
And they've got research on that one. We should talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have a really, really good one. And then there's another thing that I'm just new to, which is fasting mimicking diet. So you can do a fast where you still eat, but your body thinks it's fasting. So it still goes into, it produces the ketones and it goes into autophagy. And so you can do it without medical supervision, which is what I'm doing. I'm on day 5 of a fasting mimicking diet.
How long is it total?
And you can do it. It's 5 days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So tell us all about it.
Okay, sure. I will.
I'm so excited
you
to
can
hear
do
this.
it with, I based it off of this book, The Longevity Diet.
Mm-hmm.
And he's done, this is Walter Longo. Yeah. He has written a bunch, he's done just a lot of research on diet and longevity. And they found a lot of benefits with fasting and our bodies having that natural ability to repair itself. Basically, if before I go into what I just did, I think it would be really helpful just to explain like why it's beneficial to fast. Does anyone else want to, Patricia, you want to say a little bit about it?
Or Catherine, did you want to say something? You had your, okay.
Oh,
Go
well,
ahead.
I was going to say, we talk about it in the nutrition world from like an immune perspective. It's really beneficial for our gut. And I always teach in our classes, we need to let our gut rest. So it's not really framing it as a fast, but our gut actually, our digestive system actually needs to rest for at least 13 hours a day. And most people are not doing that. They'll finish eating around 8 or 9. They'll have breakfast at 6 or 7. And so our gut never really gets to do what it needs to do. And since like 70% of our immune system is in our gut, it's hindering our immune system. So just as a general rule, whether somebody wants to fast or not, I feel like they should at least consider letting their gut rest for, 13 to 15 hours a night, at least, regardless of what else they're doing.
Yeah. And especially if you use your sleep time as part of that, it makes it a lot easier. But there's a lot of science that has been researched and printed in terms of like cellular repair and regeneration. So basically what you're saying, Catherine, is your gut gets some time off basically and starts to kind of clean out, but all your organs do. So all the cells in your whole entire body are getting, basically they hire a cleaning crew, and the cleaning crew can come in and clean out all the old cells and and get rid of all the toxins and get that all out of your system. Because if you do keep eating, that means your body is on the job and it's working, and we never give it a chance to rest.
Right.
And it does like help your metabolic health and your brain health, and also decreases inflammation. So, and autoimmune and your immune system too, it really boosts that up, gives your immune system a chance to recharge, weight management as well. There's just so many benefits to fasting that, I think I wasn't aware of until I started really doing some research and reading about it. So it's very exciting.
Yeah.
It is. It's really good because it helps to burn the fat stores and also help to get rid of the extra glucose in your system. So then that helps a lot with overeating and type 2 diabetes too. So I mean, ultimately, our ancestors have done this. And so this is nothing new in a sense. And it's really the way our bodies were designed. Because if you think about it, when we were hunter gatherers, if we needed, I mean, we didn't have a fridge, we didn't have a freezer. So we didn't have 3 square meals a day. Sometimes we would go days without food. And so our body would have its natural ability to be like, oh, so I haven't had food in a day or like 24 hours or so. It's time to start helping you so that you can survive longer and be stronger to find more food. So then it goes in and kills off the bad cells. So that's like the really good benefit is where your body starts to just clean house. And that's why I'm doing it, because I felt like I get a good chance to go into some fat burning stores. And then that's called ketogenesis, or where you go into burning the ketones. And then your body goes into autophagy. And autophagy is when your body is cleaning out the cells. So it's getting rid of cancer cells, the aging cells, the zombie cells, all that kind of stuff. So
So
that's
how
why
are
it's
you
really good for
feeling
longevity.
on day
I'm
5?
feeling great. Yeah. It's
Mhm.
the day 1 was fine. Day 2 and 3 is the hardest. I felt like 4 was a little hard, and 5 is good. I'm pretty clear, for considering I'm not really, I mean, my body is in a fasting state. And so just a little explanation of what it is that I'm doing. You can do this at home, where he gives you a diet where you can do it yourself, or they have a kit that you can purchase, and they've put just a ton of research into it, millions of dollars. And they did it initially for cancer patients, that they could use clinically to help them to kill off the cancer cells. And so I ordered this box. It's called Prolon, and their company is Nutra. And I think the Nutra or L Nutra or something like that, but that's the one that is more supportive of, people with cancer and the clinical studies. And then Prolon is just if you want to try it at home.
How do you
And
how do you spell
okay,
that?
so that's
Prolon.
it, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So I got this box.
Prolon.
Yeah. And let me open it.
I know
It's
someone
pretty cool.
actually just yesterday diagnosed with aggressive cancer
Yeah,
who was asking for
I
something
would
like
do
this.
this.
Okay.
I would do this.
There you
Okay.
go.
All right. So this is what I'm in my daughter's bedroom. And so it comes like this, and
Mhm.
you get 5 boxes. I'm on day 5 right now, and they're all packaged in here. And they give you like a lot of really good info on how to do it, and it's a really good guidance. And then each day is a different meal program.
That you have to cook, right? That's
No,
not.
it's all packaged. So I can show you a little
Oh,
bit of what's left in my
Yeah,
box.
show us that.
Like they send you crackers and soup, but I've already taken my soup out and soaked it, because like I put them in little jars and cook them. So they give you 2 packets of soup, and then tea, and
how's the food taste?
it's actually good.
Okay.
Surprisingly, it actually is really good. And this is a vegetable powder with vitamins. It's a supplement. It's just a pill in here.
Mhm.
So there's 2 of those. And I took like a algae pill earlier today, and they give me a bar to eat for breakfast. And that's it. That's all you eat. And
So
so
why
it's
were 3
designed,
sorry, go on.
Hmm?
I
It's
was gonna ask a question.
designed to help you burn the fat instead of your muscle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's useful to, I'm going to blur my background here real quick. Choose virtual. So it's designed to help you burn the fat instead of muscle, because that's a struggle if you're doing it. Same thing goes with intermittent fasting. Like you want to make sure that you're still maintaining your muscle mass, and so you're eating enough protein. So this one, the food that they give it's a lot higher in protein and fats. And so it's just like basically a lot of nuts, coconut oil, and I'm not sure what else, but oh, they have like other things to kind of support you, like the teas And
there like
the
algae in it or
soups are vegetable based.
seafood?
Yeah,
Okay,
algae.
yeah.
There's some algae in there.
Yeah.
And so they've basically scientifically figured out how this meal helps to support you, where when we were reading that book, How to Fast Like a Girl, she was talking about how if you're doing an intermittent fast and you want to go longer, you can eat fat bombs. And we're like,
Huh?
how is that fasting? But that's the whole fasting mimicking thing. So you can get away with it by adding these higher fat products, and your body still thinks it's fasting
So
for
can
some
you
reason.
differentiate, because this is the justification that a lot of people use for keto, right?
Yeah.
So can you talk about maybe how this is different and healthier? Because I see people like doing keto for weight loss
Mhm.
and they talk about really, really high fat, but it's usually
Mhm.
a ton of animal products and things where they have
Mhm.
like these negative side effects. I think that would be good for people to kind of understand. Like, we're not advocating a
Yeah.
keto diet, right? This is a different approach
No,
to
this
it.
is not a keto diet, and it's the same thing. It's essentially the process that your body goes into is it goes into where it produces ketones when you go a certain amount of time without eating. And it's my understanding that it kicks in around 15 hours without food. Is that right, Patricia?
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Yeah. So I think that's why they really love the keto diet, is because you're trying to put your body into ketosis. But when you're eating animal fat, you're getting all of those other toxins. And you can still do it healthfully without adding the animal fat. So your body's not getting compromised by adding all those additional things. And so I look at it as this is like a temporary thing where you do it. They suggest doing it 2 to 3 times a year. So
Mhm.
it's not like a permanent thing where you're always keto.
I
Mhm.
You're
saw
just,
there's a auto subscribe or something on their page where they send it every 4 months. Does that sound right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, that's really the difference between the keto diet. The keto diet is a lifestyle, basically. They're eating animal products. They're not
Yeah.
fasting, and they're not resting their body. They're not giving their body a chance to uh, regenerate and cleanse and all of that. They're just eating regularly, and they're eating, high protein, all
a
animal
lot of fat.
products. So that's really the difference, is that you're getting all the negative effects. You're doing it on short-term boosts. And you can do this
Mhm.
with intermittent fasting as well. That's
Yeah.
the concept behind intermittent fasting. You're giving your body a chance to rest and then to burn the fat stores. So I've been doing intermittent fasting since October. I've lost 10 pounds
Wow, that's
and I
awesome.
feel so much better. And
Yeah.
I don't do it every day. You do it, whenever you want. I do it like 3 days sometimes and then 2 days off and then go back. You keep fooling your body, because if you did it the same time every day, if you did it the same way every day, your body would then just adjust to that, and it
It
wouldn't go.
does?
Yeah, it'll just adjust to you fasting, because now your body's saying, hey, we're not getting that much food anymore. We have to lower the level of our metabolism for, the long run. And so then it kind of brings everything down. You can't burn the fat like that. So you have to kind of trick your body into thinking that, oh, there's no food around. So it starts burning fat. And then all of a sudden the next day there's plentiful food. So your
Mhm.
body's like, oh, now there's enough food. Okay, so we're just going to go back to normal. And then, oh no, there's not enough food. We're going to burn fat. And so that's what you do. You just keep going back and forth between it. Some people do like a 5-day on, 2-day off. But I just don't sweat it. Like if I get up in the morning and I'm like, I'm just gonna push it to see how long I can make it. And
Mhm.
what I do is usually end at 5, and then at 5 p.m. the night before, and then I just eat whenever I feel like eating in the morning, which usually gives me like 15 hours, 17 hours.
So can we talk
Yeah.
that out? Because I started I want to talk about I'm doing it for a different reason, but I started November 10th,
Mhm.
and I've been doing it kind of the same hours every time. I mean, I would say
Mm.
I start eating around 10 or 11 and then I finish around 5 or 6. But the main reason I want to finish by 5 or 6 is because I sleep so much better and I feel so
Yeah, I
much
do
Yeah.
better.
too.
But I've kind of kept it. I mean, it's been 2 months. I've lost, I think about, oh, I don't know, like 10 or 12 pounds.
Wow.
But it
Wow.
was helping me. I started it for a different reason. And before we go into it, I would like to understand, like I feel good. I feel like I have more
Mhm.
energy and I haven't felt
Mhm,
hungry, but are
mhm.
you saying at some point it's going to be, are you thinking maybe I'm not losing body fat? Would that mean I'm losing muscle mass? Because also
Yeah.
after watching that, You Are What You Eat documentary,
Mhm.
which I love, we should talk about, I got a scale that measures like, cause I wanted to make sure I'm not losing muscle mass and I'm
Yeah.
losing actually body fat. So are you saying at some point in there, that maybe it switched or that I need to, like, if it's been 2 months, do I need to start changing it up?
I just added more protein in my diet than I had.
Mhm.
And I find that actually, so I go on MyFitnessPal and log in everything I'm eating for the day, and then just check how much grams of protein I've gotten.
Mhm.
And I've noticed that even when I add in, like if I make sure I have beans and legumes and that kind of stuff every day for a meal, sometimes it's not even enough. And so I think I was talking to Patricia that I think I'm going to start adding in a little bit of more plant-based protein powder in my smoothie
How much
or
protein are you
make
getting
my
a day?
own. It's about 35 grams.
Yeah, you
Oh,
should get about 40, 45 now. I
yeah.
mean, if you're doing this,
Yeah.
but also
Well, I
remember
think
that
actually from my height and weight, I need
Mhm.
60.
Yeah, you do because you're taller.
Yeah. So, oh no, 50. It's 50. Yeah.
How
And
tall?
sorry.
I think you should tell them how tall you are.
Oh, I'm 5'10.
Okay.
5'10. And
Mhm.
So,
yeah, so let me finish
oh
the
yeah, finish.
the
Go.
Prolon thing. So anyway, I'm on the last one and I've lost let's see, I started out today I lost 6 pounds just in
Wow, in
this,
5
like, I'm on
days.
Okay.
day 5. Yeah, clearly I'm not thinking super
I
well.
want to,
I'm
I
trying
want
to
to
do
try
I got a
that
math.
with,
calculator here. I got
I think I want to
a.
do that with the scale and see if I can track whether it's body fat, like to make sure it's body fat and
How does
not,
Oh,
that
and
do
that's another
that?
thing I was gonna
I
say.
want to know about that scale. Hold on.
okay.
Go ahead,
Sorry,
Brooke.
go on,
I
Brooke.
also I got some just fasting mimicking bars from
Hmm.
Prolon. They sell them, and not to plug them. I mean, they're not sponsoring this or anything, but they're really dense in protein. And so I got those because, like how you're talking about doing the intermittent fasting, if I want it to go a little bit longer, if
Hmm.
I have one of those bars, that's fasting mimicking. So my
Yeah,
body still thinks it's fasting.
yeah,
Okay.
And the longer you go without food, your body starts doing different things. Like, um, Patricia, I'm going off memory. We did a whole challenge on this, on
hmm
fasting. But if you do the first, 15 hours, that's where it goes into start burning the ketones and fat burning. And then if you go up to, is it 20 hours? When does it
17
start
at like
going
15
into,
to 17, you start burning your fat. And then you
and
go
when does
into
autophagy?
autophagy is at 20.
Okay, so autophagy starts at 20. That's
Yeah.
where your cells start cleaning themselves
Wow.
out and, killing off the cancer cells and stuff like that. So if you want to, like what I'll do is stop eating at 5. And then in the morning, I do find I feel better if I stop eating earlier than eating later. It's harder for
Hmm.
me to sleep. But in the morning, say I want to go a little bit longer, but still feel kind of hungry, then I'm going to try that fasting mimicking bar so that I can have a longer time to
Yeah.
get more of
Yeah.
the burning.
That's a good
Because
idea.
I've been doing the intermittent fasting for, I don't know, like how many months? Like
I think you started
Yeah.
in,
Since
yeah,
the
I
summer,
started
right?
before you.
September.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think you
no,
started in
before
September
that.
or maybe August.
It was like
So how do you,
August or so. Yeah.
so when it's, I think
And
I'm
I
getting
lost a
lost.
bunch of weight from it too.
Oh, go ahead,
Go ahead.
Catherine.
I think I'm getting lost on the wording, like fasting mimicking. I mean, if I don't want to eat late at night because I don't want my organs having to work and
Yeah.
process stuff and my liver
Mhm.
and kidneys. I mean, you're not saying that like the fasting mimicking bar is not going to be like, you wouldn't recommend eating it late at night, right?
No,
Like
I
we still
wouldn't.
want our gut to rest and
Yeah,
okay, you're just trying to squeeze out a little more time of
in the
eating,
morning.
but you think you're still getting a lot of gut rest. Okay.
And
Yeah.
Wow.
I need to get into the science of that because I have his book. I haven't found I haven't read the whole book yet. And I need to find the part where he actually talks about why that food does not break your fast. I still don't know the science behind it. I don't
Yeah.
understand
Mm.
like why if you're eating protein that doesn't break your fast. I haven't had a chance to deep dive into
Well,
that, but I'd like to.
Mhm.
the only thing I can give on that is they say where you don't want your glucose to spike at all, or you don't want to increase your glucose levels.
Right.
So anything that would be like a carbohydrate is going to make your glucose start, like
Right.
insulin.
That it rises it makes your insulin go up. So if you put glucose
Yes.
into your body, that's like the warning bell goes off in your body, like, we got glucose, get the insulin, da 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 da.
Yeah.
But then I
Yeah.
don't understand, if it's got the fat, who's handling that? Whose job is that to break
It's
that down?
Yeah.
the liver,
yeah.
and the gallbladder.
Yeah.
That's where I'm like, I mean, I know we definitely don't want to eat too
Yeah.
late because of that.
Yeah. I mean, I
Yes,
think that
I agree with you.
but I think the fast mimicking diet, like Brooke said, is only something you do a couple of times a year. And then the
Mhm.
intermittent
Mhm.
fasting is, all that you're not putting anything into your body like that. Then you're just not eating,
Well,
period.
No,
Or
but you can subsidize
Right.
your intermittent fast with
yeah,
a bar and
Yeah.
do a little bit of
Mhm.
fasting mimicking, or just like
Yeah.
those fat bombs that she was talking
yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And
Which
if you
I'm just experimenting with, really. And
Right.
honestly, like there's
Yeah.
no way if I ate one of those bars at night, I would not be able to sleep, because they
Yeah.
feel kind of like in the
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
like thick in your
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Oh.
When you
If
eat them, you're like, "Oh." Like I
if
Well,
need
you're
a
probably
tea, a
like
hot tea to get it all
stomach
down.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And if you're a purist, you may not,
Yeah.
that might not be appealing to you. But I think if you're looking to lose some weight too, or to like kind of jumpstart and get used to fasting in
Mm-hmm.
general, I think that program is very good. It seems very good. It seems like it's based on science, but
Mhm.
I do need to understand a little bit more, and I will get into that. But anyway,
Yeah, and what's good, I feel like he is legit in the sense that all of his proceeds go back into the
Yeah.
El Nutra
yeah,
program. And so he's not like, it's not some like
yeah.
like
He's not
a
some
Beachbody plan or
snake
something
oil
where you're
salesman. He's not a snake oil salesman. He's
Yeah.
right.
he's
Yeah.
got a PhD, and those doctors. Well,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
But
wanted
I
to
feel
share.
like he doesn't understand the plant-based diet
Yeah.
research as much as other doctors do,
Yeah.
and as much as we do,
Yeah.
honestly. So like for him, what he suggests is a diet that's really good for longevity is essentially plant-based, but also he's basing it on the blue zones, and he's
Mhm.
saying also fish is good to add if
Yeah.
you eat, if you want
And olive oil.
like twice a week, and
Yeah.
olive oil. So, and I'm interested about the oils a little bit, because I find that I do feel a lot better now that I'm eating more peanuts or nuts and fatty foods, because like whenever you increase your protein, you're getting more fat. It's impossible to not.
Mhm.
And I'm still losing weight.
Yep.
So yeah, I
Well,
think
what
that there
about,
is.
I mean, what about beans? They don't
Yeah.
have any fat typically. So do you mean,
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like I feel more satiated when I'm having more nuts.
oh, I do too. I feel better
Yeah.
with nuts for sure.
And
Oh,
I'm
me
losing
too.
weight still. So I don't know. I feel like it's, and he also, and even Dr. Furman, with Eat to Live, he says you should have an ounce of nuts with every meal.
Mhm.
I mean,
definitely feel better.
I went without nuts. I was nuts about nuts. Like I was like, I'm not eating any nuts because of the
Mhm.
whole Esselstyn and the heart disease and everything. And so for years and years and years, I really kind of avoided. I had nuts every
Oh.
now and then, but I had a little bit of walnuts in my oatmeal I used to eat. But now I'm eating a lot of nuts. I'm eating a lot of walnuts, mostly walnuts, and then chia seeds and hemp
Mhm.
seed. And so now but I definitely feel better, and I've lost weight. But I wanted to point out one thing. So for women, especially when you're fasting, it's really, really important for you to do strength training while you're fasting,
Mhm.
that whole period. You should be doing strength training every day anyway, in some way,
Mhm.
form, or shape or form. Because you don't want to lose muscle mass. And as you get older, women lose their muscle mass. And when you're fasting, you can lose it even faster. So that's one thing I really want to emphasize, to do that.
And also, since we're still talking about women,
Mhm.
women, as far as like our cycles go, there's a whole nother way you can do it, where Patricia does it like kind of 5 days on, 2 days off, or whatever works for her schedule. And I think that's a great way to do it, because if you do it very rigidly, it eventually ends up not being good for women. And according to Fast Like a Girl, she did all the research on the different, she didn't do any research. She basically took all the research out there
Told
and
us about the research.
presented it, told us about the research.
Which
And in there, she's saying that women, if they're better off following their cycle, and you should not fast a week before your period. So if you are still getting your period and you know what your cycle is, that week before, you should not do intermittent fasting.
And that's because your body is going through, is going through some stress, because you have your body's saying, oh, are we going to fertilize? So your body's getting all ready to have an egg and get ready for that. And
That's
then,
That's
Go
really
ahead.
interesting, because we've always, like, I know Dr. Barnard recommends in his books, and we do in our classes, like that week before the cycle, women need to focus on lower fat foods and higher fiber. And I'm just thinking that fiber is always from a plant. So it's like attached to all these antioxidants, which would make her stronger and healthier. And maybe, I mean, and that seems to align with what y'all are saying, that, so not restricting calories. And then if we follow his by having like lots of fiber and nutrients, it's all going to prepare her for getting pregnant or
you want to, shore everybody up, and, and all the systems need to be ready
But how
to
would
go.
you, like, I don't have a uterus, so I don't have a cycle, but I still have my ovaries. And so I see it like in my temperature changes on my Oura ring, but I would have no idea where I am in the cycle. You know what I mean? I guess I maybe could study the temperature changes to where, because it's just like this perfect little.
Well,
That's interesting. Yeah, you could do that. And she says for people that don't get their period, is they could just follow the moon cycle, which is another option. But I think that just goes to like how Patricia does it. Then you're not, it's just not consistent.
Yeah. I don't have a cycle. I don't have a cycle. So, but I still have all my
Good
organs. But I still have all my organs. But I
so
don't.
We're like a good mix of like.
We are. Perfect.
I don't have the cycle, but I'm missing some organs, but not all of them.
Right. But I would track it.
I
have
it, but I'm like gradually not having it.
I would track it if I was you, Catherine, and see track your
Maybe that's a good
temperature.
idea.
And just see if there's like something that you can count on. Like, does it go up and down and all that? And then figure out how to track it. And then the week that before that happens, then you maybe lay off and
I think I will. And I can report back. I wanted to share why I started intermittent fasting.
Okay.
Because I know it's popular for weight loss, and that's been like a nice, and I know it's good for sleep, and that's been a good, like, nice byproduct that I also needed. But my main thing, like, as you ladies know, I've had some really stressful things going on in my life at the same time. So work stuff and shutting down part of our business, and then focusing on the nonprofit. And we've had a lot of stuff going on with our kiddos, especially one of them. And so I felt it building since August, and I have major food addiction issues, especially at night, and like binge eating. And I had gotten into this habit where I would have chocolate at night, dark chocolate, and I was drinking wine. I stopped drinking in February when I got my ring, but I was still having, like, it was still the stress of the evening, right? Like of the whole day. And I just could not control my eating. And so then I started this mental cycle of like where you're mad, and I'm like, damn it, I'm a nutritionist. I know better than this. And it's not necessarily bad food, like what I would call bad food is like something processed, like, I ate my kid's veggie dog, like, so I'm not like
you're eating a cow or something.
Right. I'm not going crazy. Or maybe like I had that dark chocolate square and I smeared it with peanut butter. This is not like.
I know. It's all
That's actually probably better, because then you're not spiking your glucose.
Yeah.
It's probably better having it with the peanut butter.
Yeah. But here I am, like, I know deep inside I cannot control this. And so then I'm getting mad at myself. I'm like, these are not whole foods. It's not what you teach. Like, blah, blah, blah. And I start this whole mental thing. And so then I want to eat more. And and then I sleep terribly. And I would wake up just beating myself up in the morning, just hating myself
Aw.
already. Like, and I'm one of those people because I'm a data person. So I always weigh myself every day just because I think it's good
I
for
do
me
that.
to be honest with myself.
Yeah.
And so this
I do too.
started, yeah, this started in August, and it was just getting really, really, really bad to where I was gaining weight, which also sucked, you know, and then just contributed to the spiral.
Oh
And
man.
so I
Yeah.
really looked at what are my strongest parts of the day where I feel most confident and most in control, and where are my weakest? Because I mean, I
Oh.
actually got to thinking to myself, like, oh my God, I just need to go to bed at 5 because this is crazy and I can't handle all this stress. And then, you know, and then, like, that's not practical. So that was why I started it, because my trouble zone is like
Yeah.
after 6, after 7, and not coincidentally, I mean, our kids are home during the day for homeschool 3 days a week, and my husband and I are pretty much, you know, work from home a lot. So it's not like the kids come home in the afternoon and that's the root of all my problems. It's just, I think that's when everybody's tired and it starts to escalate. So when I started the intermittent fasting, and really for me, it was just like a cutoff. It kept me from that because that was my commitment, not eating after 6. So it kept me from the binging and the loss of control. And then that, you know, that cycle with your hormones that comes with like eating a lot of chocolate and more fats and things like that. And so, and then I would wake up feeling a little bit stronger every day about myself. And, you know, I'm going to get through this. It's going to be fine. I'm not going to use food to substitute it. And so it's been 2 months, and it's been tremendously helpful for me mentally. And I know, you know, all the physical stuff about clarity and sleep and everything is a great benefit, but like for me I feel like I'm standing in the middle of a hurricane right now with my life, and it's been going on about 6 months. And I feel like I have this little sense of control that it's, you know, I'm going to eat and I'm going to enjoy myself till 5 or 6. And then in the mornings I'm like, let me engage in something that's satisfying instead of going straight to breakfast or straight to coffee.
Good.
And it's really been incredible. I feel like, you know, we had some more stress come up earlier in the week, and I was telling my husband Matt, like, I feel like I'm in a, you know, like this stressor is the same as it was a couple of months ago, but I feel like I'm a different person handling it right now, you know. So it's been really, really good for me. And something else I noticed, I wanted to tie into what Brooke was saying. When I've been doing this, I've noticed I haven't been eating a lot of grains. I mean, I'm still a fan of grains. I think they're important for the nutrients, but I think that in some way those trigger me a little bit. That's
Me
what I've
too.
noticed.
Me
So
too.
just
For
like
sure.
my own fear and like self-preservation, I've really upped my beans. When I eat
Mhm.
greens, like leafy greens, it makes me feel better about myself. So I actually noticed, I was like, hold on, like I'm starting to put like greens in every meal because that makes me feel
Yeah.
really good about myself. And I feel really good when I've got fiber. And I've started eating nuts in the afternoon. I eat
Mhm.
some pistachios and blueberries, and mainly because those are good for sleep too. But I feel better physically, and I've lost some weight, but then I feel so much clearer mentally. So
Mhm.
I think it's a good thing for someone to consider beyond just weight loss or wanting to be healthy, but it helps me feel like I have a sense of control and that I'm doing something good, you know,
Mhm.
instead of spiraling. So I just
Yeah.
want to share that for anybody out there that might be struggling with that, you
Yeah.
know?
Thank you for that, because I feel we're all, it's funny because we're all on the same page, but we're all coming at it from a different angle. And
Mhm.
I felt the same way too, because I had gained
Yeah.
weight over COVID, and I just felt like I couldn't get back to my old self again, and I couldn't figure out why. And then this whole intermittent fasting came up, and Brooke started talking about it, and I had read some stuff, and so I started really getting into it more. And I agree with you, Catherine, in terms of control, because I felt like I didn't have any control anymore. Like I was just eating, and I was just eating throughout the whole day. And I was just like, I already ate. Why am I eating again? I'm
Yeah.
eating again. I'm eating again. And then at night, it's very hard. My husband sits next to me, and he takes out the barbecue potato chips, and he eats his little ice cream cone, and it's, you know, it's all vegan, but it's still junk food. And
Yeah.
he has his bowl of cherries, and I'm sitting there like with my glass of water, please, God, help me get through this movie or show so that I could go to bed and not eat. But then, I'll take out Fig Newtons and I'll have one. I'll have a ginger
Oh
snap.
man.
It's
Oh, that
it's
would
just
kill me.
like I just want to put
Pandora's
a wall up.
box. Yeah.
It really hurts. So this, I decided I'm going to do this. And so it does help me. My weak spot is like from 3 to 5. Like after I
Oh.
eat my meal, like I'll wake up in the morning and I just do the same thing that you do, Catherine. I go exercise and I work out. So that's when I do it because I know I'm going to lose the day. And then I kind of get myself in order, and then I'll do some kind of project and keep myself busy. And sometimes I can keep myself busy until noon. Sometimes I can't keep myself busy until after 10. I'm like, okay, I'm going to stop my fast. And that's not bad. It's a 15-hour, but I always try to push it to the 17-hour. However, so then I eat and then I'm fine. And then around 2:30, 3 o'clock, I eat my meal of the day. And I've realized that now with this fasting, I'm not eating as much as I used to. I used to eat a much bigger serving, and now I can't have to break it up. I can't even eat it. But
because your
then-
stomach is shrinking. You think?
I think I don't know if that happens or whether it's by my sensor in my brain telling me that I'm full. Like that's
Well,
it.
I notice
You're
it
done.
too. I can't physically eat as much food
Yeah.
as I could. I
Yeah.
get like indigestion.
Oh,
So there's
yeah.
got to be something.
Yeah.
I'm
and
glad you
sometimes
brought
I
up.
force it. Like sometimes I like,
Yeah.
oh, I got to finish this. And then I'm in pain.
That's
then
what I
I'm
do.
Then I'm walking around going, why did I eat that extra? Like I didn't even need that. Gosh darn it. Just
Habit.
stop eating for a change. But
Dopamine.
I do still have a sugar because over Christmas ate sugar, and it's like I'm a heroin addict, really. And it just
That's why I did this.
It turned the flood on, and so then I have these little mounds, those little real food, those real candies, the mounds, the dark chocolate mounds that are vegan. Have you ever seen those?
No.
Oh yeah.
You shouldn't see those, Catherine.
Okay. Well.
Because they have M&Ms, and those are my weakness. So then I started just eating one mounds after my lunch. I'm like, okay, I'm happy with that
That works.
for a little while.
Maybe I could do that.
And then I start to search.
It's like
and
a flood zone.
It is. So now I'm back to, but I still am losing. This is what's amazing. I'm still losing weight, even though I'm cheating a little bit at the end.
Yeah, me too.
But I still am not eating after 5. I'm stopping because my reward system is tomorrow morning, how early can I eat? So I sit there at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I could eat at 10 if I stop at 5. And then, so that's my reward, because at 7 o'clock I go, oh, if I eat something now, I can't eat until like noon tomorrow. I don't want to do that. So that's my incentive.
It's so funny because you're
ahead.
talking about how you have this mounds type bar, the vegan version of it. And it's like everything else you eat is probably I'm sure whole food plant-based.
It
you
is.
know, like, so beans, greens, and then hardly any grains probably. And then you're like focusing in on this one little mounds.
I know.
And getting mad at yourself.
Delusion is the solution to pollution. Remember, delusion is the solution to pollution.
Yeah, so of course
you're
losing
like,
weight. I mean, that's
you're like just a little hit. I just need a little hit.
Just a hit. Can you get one?
Yeah, you brought up
First
your
one's free.
husband. You brought up your husband. I wanted to point out, I became really aware that most of my eating is not because I'm hungry. Like I got in an argument with Matt the other night. It was like 8 o'clock. And it was just one of those where it's like a very personal thing that where it's, it's not about taking the trash out. And what did I do? I found myself standing at the fridge with the doors open. And my son even is like, what are you doing, Mom? Like, you don't eat after it's late. What are you doing? You're going to mess up your fasting. You're not going to sleep well. You're going to turn your liver on.
Oh my God, that's so
And I was
funny.
like, it was all I could do. And I realized I'm standing here because I'm in an argument with, like, I have stress, And then the couple of nights before, one of the kiddos just lost his mind. Here I am standing at the fridge. I think that's also where it's important not to have bad stuff there. If I do go crazy in the fridge.
Yeah, you can't have it.
Yeah,
like,
but
damn,
I
could choose between carrots peppers and a bowl
And
of
then you talk
lentils.
yourself out of it. You're like,
Like,
I did that. I was like,
yeah.
none of this is worth it. But I
know.
told Matt, I was like, I don't think I'm ever truly hungry. I think I just eat for the stress or the dopamine,
Yeah.
like because I'm trying to avoid y'all. I'm trying to avoid y'all.
Yeah,
All
absolutely.
right, so that's a
Yeah.
really good point that you're making is that you're getting stressed, so cortisol rises.
Mhm.
So when our cortisol rises, is it our body kicks in and says, "Oh, eat carbs for energy"?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, processed
Danger.
I mean, is
stuff.
that why?
I
Danger,
think,
Is it,
well,
danger. Yeah.
I think it's a combination of that, and I'm feeling low mentally, and so I'm seeking that dopamine, and
Yeah.
I can only
That
get that
bump.
with like
yeah,
fat, salt, and sugar. So most of the
right.
time when I open the fridge, it's safe because I don't have that in there. But I mean, I do have like a candy box, and if we go looking
I
in
do
that,
too.
there's a lot. So I think it's a combination of the cortisol, and then I just want something that makes me feel better and makes me happy artificially. I mean, it's the same, I think, as someone reaching for a beer
Yep.
or, you know,
Yeah.
doing drugs or something.
Yep.
They just
Yeah,
want to make themselves feel happy. And
absolutely.
it's all a substitute because all that shit is waiting for you when you come
Yep.
down from your chocolate high
I
or your
know.
mounds
And then
high.
you're just mad at yourself. You're like, God darn it. Why did I do
Yeah.
that? You know, and now I can't
Yeah.
eat my breakfast until noon.
Yeah, I think so. I want to tell y'all about this scale. I think there's a million of them out there.
Okay.
So, but it's
Oh yeah, I want to know about the
nice.
scale.
I wanted to be, I started thinking after I watched that, like, well, I don't, you know, just looking at that number on the scale, I was like, I wonder if I'm really maybe losing some muscle mass because I have not been working out at all, Patricia. I haven't been doing resistance training, so I'm guessing I've lost muscle. But it shows you, I was going to show mine, but then I'm afraid to show my numbers. I think people will judge me. But it shows you like your body fat percentage, the pounds of muscle, how much water, like how
How does it
hydrated you are.
know?
Well, it's got these metal things and you
Oh.
step on it
Okay.
and I turn on my phone. I'm just going to show
Oh.
you all my number. Okay. I'm not pretending I'm a workout person.
I wouldn't
or
even
like,
know a number is a number to me because it's all
Here.
personal because
Oh, you have
my
to let
number
me
will look
share.
weird to you guys and your number,
Yeah,
it
I'll
won't
show
mean
you
anything.
this.
I
And
don't
it's
care. You can
probably
cover it.
not, it's probably, let me see when it won't let me share yet. It's probably not, I'm sure it's not 100% accurate, but it's something that I can trend and track. So it shows you this, and then you can bring
Oh,
up your numbers over time.
wait a minute.
So
How did I
it
do
shows,
that?
you see like my percent body water, and then visceral fat. This is not in pounds. I freaked out at first. I was like, I'm going to die, but it's not, it's like a scale number. My visceral fat is
Oh.
actually it's in the low category. So
What
like,
does
if you
that mean? Visceral.
that's the
Your
fat
stomach,
hanging on your
organs.
organs.
Oh,
Yeah, like
yeah.
all mixed up in your
yeah.
gut and everything. Very, very bad to be, I think, over 4 pounds. But it's like if you click on visceral fat, it'll show you what the range should be and if you're
Oh.
low, medium, or high. So I'm actually
Okay.
low visceral fat, which is
That's
good.
good.
But bone mass, it says I'm good. But I'm going to be tracking this muscle mass number. I'm going to be looking at that. And in case people are judging my weight, I am 5'8.5".
That's
And
nothing.
but 2
God.
months ago when I started this, I was 159 and I was crying. And you know, I just
Well, how tall are you?
I'm 5'8.5".
5'8". Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not like,
I
I'm
mean,
just
that's
normal. I'm normal weight, but you know, I
your
just wasn't
BMI
feeling
is
good.
normal weight, right?
Yeah. No, it's all in my head. It's all in my head.
Yeah, your
But then,
BMI is good.
yeah, since I started doing the intermittent fasting, I noticed the this part, like the hip,
Yep.
all this, you can't see it now. It's all like trimmed, all from
Yep.
like my boobs to my hips. Like it's just kind of trimmed down. I think
That's
I got rid
good.
of, yeah, but I think this is nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
And then I
that.
can track it. Like I want to make sure. So now I'm actively looking at my muscle mass and I'm like, oh, I should probably start lifting weights because I don't want to lose weight. I think a lot of times, I'm going to say myself included, we try to lose weight and we don't care where it comes from. And I think we're probably doing ourselves a real disservice if we're actually losing muscle mass and not body fat, because then all the fat's waiting there.
Especially when you get older, as you get into your 50s and your 60s,
Yeah.
you lose muscle mass really fast.
Yeah, you've scared me. I
so-
need to start.
And so
I
you
don't wanna
need more
scare you.
protein after 70. It's after 65, you need more protein.
So
Is
how
it-
much more do you know? Or I guess that's in Brenda's book, right?
It's in
Yeah, I
Brenda's
don't
book,
track
yeah.
I don't track what I eat. I just know in my head, but you know, I find that I have to actually pack because I eat less. Now I have to pack more nutrition into what I
Yes.
eat. And that drives me
Yeah.
crazy because I'm like, oh, I got to get protein. Oh, I got to get my nuts. I got to get my
Oh, I
greens.
think
I got
that's
to
a
get
good
my,
side effect.
yeah,
I
no,
think
it
that's
is, but
when,
it's like, I used to have the whole day to get everything. Now I'm like,
yeah,
I got to pack it all in like now.
that's gotten me off of the processed foods
Yeah,
because
me
I'm like,
too.
well, I only have these many
Yeah.
meals. And when I eat too much, I feel bad.
Yep.
Like I started
Like,
getting reflux.
yeah.
So I just don't have the room for the processed stuff.
So
It's
speaking
just,
of reflux, I had a really
That's good.
bad problem with it for a while. Like I noticed like this past year. And even if,
hmm.
I stopped eating at whatever time, whatever. Um, and then no matter what, in the middle of the night, I get like this burning in my throat. I'm like, what the hell? I'm eating
Yeah.
whole foods. Why is it, it doesn't matter. So, but with intermittent fasting, I've noticed it's gone away. I don't have
Yeah.
that burning in my throat anymore when I wake up or coughing. I was coughing in the middle of the night. I know that was because something was like bubbling
What
up.
else? You have a bunch of things that have gone away since you've been doing
What was the other
intermittent
thing? Oh, I'm
fasting.
sleeping much better.
Yeah,
Your
Oh
eyes.
my
good.
gosh. Oh, and my eyes. So I have, because I don't have a thyroid. Right after I had my thyroid taken out, I got an autoimmune in my eye, which is it stops producing tears.
Oh my
So
gosh.
it's not totally
Ugh,
gone,
dry
but
eye.
my eyes it's called dry eye, which I hate that name, but
Is it
um,
Sjogren's disease or Sjogren's?
no, mm-mm.
There's a name for it with the
It's not
dry eye
that
thing.
though. Yeah,
Oh, it's not that. Okay.
that's a different one. Yeah.
Okay.
So I have to take drops. I have to take Restasis twice a day. I got drops in my eyes. But over the past, before I started fasting, my eyes all of a sudden just got so much worse. And they basically would seal shut in the middle of the night because they were so dry. They were just locked and
Mhm.
flip me out because I was like, I'm
Yeah.
blind. I can't
Oh,
open so I have to put drops in my eyes in the middle of the night, like regular drops, just to open my eyes. And I was kind of freaking out. I talked to my doctor. I don't know what it is. So yeah, usually, right. And so then I started intermittent fasting. And then I noticed I'm not waking up in the middle of the night with my eyes all dried up. Like I can't open them anymore. Now they're back to what it was like shortly after I got diagnosed. And now I'm just using Restasis like I always do. And my eyes are
wow.
fine.
And
What's the other
your
thing? My
blood
who?
pressure. Blood
Oh
pressure.
yeah. So my blood pressure, it's not
Wow.
completely, but it really depends on what I'm doing. Like if I'm eating bad things, well then my blood pressure is going to go up. But I've noticed that like I'll measure my blood pressure and it'll actually be like 121/70. And I'm
Yeah.
like, who, what?
You
Because
know,
I'm
that's
on blood
also,
pressure medicine. And
but that's also tied to sleep. Like,
that
like
too.
if someone gets a bad night's sleep, their
Yep.
blood pressure is
Yep.
significantly higher the next day.
Yep.
So
So
that's
yeah.
exciting that it's
Yeah.
all kind of
Yeah.
synchronous.
So I'm monitoring that to see
Hmm.
if that's gonna, you know, go
Yeah.
away
I don't have these
eventually.
kind of reports other than I'm sleeping better and I feel
That's
like
good.
I feel like I'm less like this
Yep.
emotionally.
Mhm.
But I think part of that with me is sleep. Like I'm not a nice person when I don't get enough sleep. That's
Yeah. I
hard.
mean, I think
Yeah.
sleep
Yeah.
is extremely important and they do link
Yeah.
that to longevity and they do
Hmm.
that to
Hmm.
health and all of that and to diseases, chronic
Yeah.
diseases especially. So if we could check off that box, that's a long way that we're going towards, being a healthier version of ourselves. So I think
Yeah.
that's a plus in my mind. And really, eating late at night is so terrible for you because then
Yeah.
you're laying in bed when your body's supposed to be resting and it's like, we got all this work to do. Good, you can go ahead and sleep, but we got like 5 hours worth of work to do. And by the
Yeah.
time you wake up, your body's like, oh my gosh, we gotta digest more food. So you got to think about
Yeah.
that. So I
Yeah.
think that's been the biggest aha moment for me
Yeah.
is that my body is feeling better because I'm
Hmm.
giving it a rest.
Hmm. Can I
And
talk
it's
about it?
just normal.
Yeah.
It's normal. Like if you think about
Yeah.
how we were as
Yeah.
our body was created as our ancestors. So it's like we're not really depriving ourselves. This is what our body is supposed to
Yep.
naturally go through.
Yep.
I love this. This is the perfect tie-in
Yes, it
Oh,
because
is.
good.
it's funny. I think it's funny how we heal just by going back to what we were supposed to be
Uh-huh.
doing and how we were created, right?
Uh-huh.
Because I wanted
Yeah.
to talk about the
Oh
Daniel
yeah.
Oh
fast.
yeah.
Because this is popular in the Christian community I mean, it's exactly what Brooke said. That was actually perfect. I mean, basically Daniel and in the Bible and his guys, they went on this Daniel diet and they thought it would make them weaker, but it actually made them stronger. And the Daniel diet, it's essentially a vegan diet. Like they gave up all meats, they gave up like any kind of processing. They did keep oils. But this is popular. A lot of the churches will do this maybe the first 21 days of the year, or some of them do it during like the Lenten
Lent.
season. And I think it's so fascinating because people will come tell me like, oh, I'm doing the Daniel diet. I mean, it's basically whole foods, right? It's exactly what all of us teach and live. And they're so excited. They're like, oh, I've been doing a Daniel diet. And some of them come at it really afraid. You know, it's just veggies and grains and beans. I don't know what I'm going to do. But then some of them are kind of like excited and they start to feel better. And they talk about how it's this sort of detox. And after the 21 days, you know, they're using the bathroom more and all that. And I always tell them like, well, what if you just lived that way? Like live the Daniel diet, because it proved that they were stronger and better through eating that way. And that's how we talk about eating every day. But back to I wanted to share some science on the Daniel diet too, but back to what you were saying. I mean, originally for believers, we believe in the Garden of Eden, and this is the original Garden of Eden diet, just whole foods, nothing processed, and no animal products. So I don't think it's that far off, or it should be like an epiphany to people when they do the Daniel diet and they feel better. I'm like, well, yeah, that's because that's a diet you were created to eat, you know, originally. But there's some actually good research, and which I think is exciting.
You allowed to eat apples on the Daniel diet?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Any kind of, oh, maybe I should just clarify for a second. So it's any kind of vegetables, fruit, whole grains, beans and legumes. It also includes nuts and seeds. The drinks are only like water. Some versions include fruit juice, some don't. Some include like an unsweet plant milk, like a non-dairy milk, and some don't. And then oils. So they do, I think most versions include oils. I usually try to encourage people not to. And then herbs and spices and unleavened bread. I don't know how many people follow that. But of course, and then there's no alcohol, no added sugars, meat or dairy, no eggs, no yeast, no refined grains, no processed food, no fried food, no
What about
solid
tofu?
fats.
Tofu or
Yeah,
seitan? Yeah.
yeah, those would be fine.
Oh, wow.
And then
I could live on
no
that.
caffeine.
It's a whole
I
food
mean,
plant-based diet.
Yeah, that's
it's
what it is.
basically like, yeah. And I'm thinking, well, anybody in the world would benefit from like no processed grains and processed foods and fried foods and added sugars and alcohol, you know? So it's like a slam dunk. But what I think is even better is that I love it when science catches up too. There's been some published papers on this so here's one, the effect of a 21-day Daniel fast and how it affects metabolic and cardiovascular disease risk factors. And they tested both men and women. And of course, it was wonderful. They noticed improvements. I'm going to the summary here. They said it was well tolerated by the men and women. They had a high adherence rate, which I think is good. And all risk factors for metabolic and cardiovascular disease improved. And so
oh my gosh.
I know all risk. I'm like, do we think this? I mean,
Hey.
biblically speaking, would that tell us that maybe our bodies work better on this? They saw better. They did white blood cell counts, nitrogen, creatine, cholesterol, of course, all that stuff, blood pressure, insulin, CRP, like inflammation. I mean, it was pretty. I think that's pretty exciting when, you know, people do it. And from a biblical perspective, like, well, I'm just going to try it. I'm like, well, you should go further back in the Bible because that's how we were created to eat anyway. And look, here's science showing like, wow, this can really benefit us. So that's another type of fast.
That's a good
Without,
angle.
if people are worried about being hungry, maybe you can just do the Daniel fast or maybe start with parts of it. Like maybe just get rid of processed sugar and processed foods. And then maybe for 21 days, you know, try to go without dairy. You'll notice massive differences. without that, and then kind of build on it. So it's not
Mhm.
something, I think there's just different ways to do it. And this is a different result. And of course, I think intermittent, I'm in love with, and all those other things, not eating late. But for most people who are eating like the standard American diet, and then they're having ice cream at night and all that, I think starting with something like this can kind of get them on the path. My
Yeah.
uncle is an extremist. I think you were talking about your sister,
Oh,
Patricia.
yeah.
My uncle, he's like a heavy smoker, like eats at the buffet all the time. And I'll call him and he's doing this. He's like, well, I'm fasting for, 3 or 4 weeks. I'm like, I don't think that's good for you, because he eats nothing. And then he breaks his fast, like back at the buffet. And I think during his fast, he's smoking, but
Oh my
I'm like,
God.
Of course.
I think this is going to be worse for you than, so he ends up
Yeah.
like this boomerang,
Oh my
does that,
gosh.
That
yeah,
actually is proven to be worse. Dr. Furman talks about
Yeah.
that. And he says that it's really dangerous
Oh,
for
yeah.
people to do the intermittent fasting if they're not eating the right kinds of foods, because then
Yeah.
they end up overdoing it. Or if they do like a regular fast too, like 5-day fast or whatever, and then they go
Yeah.
back to their regular stuff, he was saying something about scientifically it's proven to affect your longevity in the reverse,
Mhm.
where
Yeah. Well, that makes
it causes
sense.
more damage.
Especially
You
if
can't
they're
make
just,
up. You
Mhm.
can't make up for that. Like you can't just
Yeah.
like poison your body and then not eat anything for a couple of weeks and then poison your body again and thinking that that's going to do any good.
Yeah.
You just
Right.
can't reverse that kind of damage.
I think for some people they think, yeah, wouldn't that be nice if we could just erase it like that? But
Yeah.
I think it's the daily control is too challenging. So I've tried to tell him, like, I don't think that's good. I don't think that's going to help you. And but I know some people out there do it. So if they could just pick like one little thing at a time,
Yep.
there's so much to choose from in the regular standard
there are.
American diet. Just take one of
So
them out.
why do they call it Daniel fast? Is it because they're not
Well,
doing alcohol?
no, well, it's considered a fast. In the church community, a fast could be like just giving up. It's not completely no food. It could be, but it could be like, I'm going to fast from social media. And so in the Daniel fast, he's technically fasting from all of I don't have the exact wording, but the I want to find
Temptations
the
or
wording. No, like
no.
the gluttony of like kings
Oh.
and queens. He's
Oh.
fasting from that luxurious
Interesting.
life of excess where they
Mhm.
had consumed lots of meat. I need to find the
That's
exact quote, but
history. Yeah, it's interesting.
that's the idea. But here it says, but Daniel resolved that he would not defile himself with the king's food or with the wine that he drank.
Mhm.
And so he had to actually ask permission not to eat these things because
Oh,
they
wow.
because they were
Mm.
viewed as like strength and royalty, and this is what important people
Oh.
eat. So he had to get permission. But that was the idea behind it. I'm currently, our church is doing a fast and they're kind of loose on it. Like, why don't you pick something that you think would help you be better or be
Mhm.
closer to the person you want to be or enhance your relationship with God for 21 days. And so I'm giving up, I'm fasting from coffee. I don't drink a lot of coffee, but I have it in the morning and then I have one at 3. And I just love it. I think I love the ritual and I think I love the sugar I put in it and the creamer.
Mhm.
I think that's what I love.
And the
That's my problem.
chocolate and the
And like,
chocolate and then I
I
put
don't have the
marshmallows in
chocolate.
it.
You do?
No, I'm
I
only
think that's
kidding.
what it is.
I'm
I was
only
like,
kidding.
yeah, and it popped
Yeah.
in my head when I was praying the other day. I was like, I'm not going to give up coffee. I don't have a problem with coffee. Coffee's not my problem, And then I was like, whoa, that was a really strong, I was like, maybe I
Reaction.
should. Yeah, I was like, coffee's not a problem. I mean, I know people who drink 6 cups a day. I have like 2, and so I'm trying to. I just started today. It's not, honestly, it's not going well, but I made some tea. It was hot, so I got that part of it, but I'm not putting like sugar and creamer in it.
Yeah.
And then also I'm gonna fast from the things that I let into my mind, like the shows that I'm watching or things that I'm listening to. I want to try to just input like positive, uplifting stuff. And then the
Good.
idea is that, when you have that craving for coffee or whatever, you're supposed to pray instead. And you find that satisfaction, not from the food, but from your relationship with God. And so I think like there's nothing to lose. My son's doing it. I was so proud. Can I brag? We're not even talking about food
Wow.
anymore. My 12-year-old gave up video games.
Wow.
He's like,
What?
he goes, I think about my video games too much. I don't even let them play hardly.
I
I'm a bad
loved your
mom.
boys.
You have
Yeah,
such
and
a,
he
you
does
have
such
raised
great
them
kids.
so well, really.
Oh my
you should come
gosh.
to my house.
Holy
You would
cow.
change your mind. But this one, he's like, I think I'm going to give up video games. I
No,
was
those
like,
are the things that
wow,
you have shown
wow.
them to
Wow.
He
think
has some
about.
self-awareness.
Yes, that is,
Yeah.
so many people are not self-aware.
I
There
know.
are
I
so
think
many-
that's like
when
my
you go-
pet peeve. What?
What?
You go to the fridge at night and he's like, but mom, you're not eating
I
it.
know.
What about your liver? I'm just like, oh my
God.
God. What kid is going to do that?
That's
You know,
amazing.
They're not going to be normal. I don't know. I'm trying.
There is no normal, but that's good that they're self-aware. That's the
It's
key to
important.
survival and success. I really truly believe that you
Yes,
can.
self-awareness and taking ownership
Yes.
of your choices.
Oh
I
my
think
gosh.
just because of my own personal stuff with other
Mhm.
people, I'm like, I'm not putting any more people out into the world who
Mhm.
don't take accountability for
Yes.
their stuff and who aren't self-aware. There's a lot
I
of people.
agree.
Yeah. The other two,
Yeah,
they're like, we're not giving up anything. Can we have his screen time? I'm like, no.
Can we have his screen time?
That's so
That's
funny.
not how it
Yeah,
works.
I would
You
say
can't
that.
have my coffee.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I would say that my biggest benefit from fasting has been being able to manage that craving for sugar or other things that I shouldn't be eating, because I'm like, oh, wait, if I can do this, get past this hunger zone. I've been hungry for the past 5 days. I can't believe I've gotten this far. And I'm like, and managed my attitude. Like, I haven't been mean
Yeah,
or
that's
angry
great.
Wow.
at all.
That's good. That's
That's-
good.
And I'm like,
pretty
any
impressive.
decisions I'm not making during this, just in case I'm like looking at it the wrong way or something. But
That's
but
smart
it's
too.
true. It's like and then the other thing is we watch Survivor a lot. And
Mhm.
I keep thinking, oh, this is what they feel when they're playing the game, because they're starving and they're getting a little food and then they're starving and that, like, for this whole time, but they manage, and like, if they can do it, I can do it. But it's helping me then eat better when I do start eating again. Like, it's just, I'm like, oh yeah, I can do this. I don't need to, and I
Yeah,
can
you
like
have that
eat
one, those
less
little
and
wins.
push
Yeah.
away. Yeah, because you've done it. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
if I could do that, I could do this, and
Mhm.
it's just easier in the little ones.
So I
Yeah.
decided to beat myself at my own game, like wanting to have that bad food. So I decided
Uh-huh.
I'm going to make myself some desserts that are whole food plant-based that I can eat. And that way, when I'm tempted, I only could eat those. So I made sweet potato brownies. They don't have any
Yum.
sugar in
Talking about
it.
food.
Oh, sorry. Shit. Sorry.
Wait, I'll go like this. Go.
Sweet potato
Let's
brownies.
talk.
And then,
Tell me while she's
and then I
off.
made dates. I took those dates and I stuffed them with almond butter and dipped them in a little bit of melted dark chocolate.
I've
And
never
I stuck
done
them.
that. Is
I
that
stuck
good?
them in the freezer. Oh my God, yeah.
So you stuff it with almond butter inside
Yeah, or
the
peanut
date,
butter. Yeah.
and then you dip it in dark chocolate.
Yeah, I just
and
melt
then
some chocolate
freeze
chips.
it.
Yep, and then I just stick it in the freezer in a box, a Tupperware box. And so every time I'm like, I gotta have something, like, well, you can only have the dates or you can have the
Oh my
brownie.
gosh.
Which one do you want? Sometimes
Ooh.
I have both,
I
but
have
at least
some dates. I'm gonna do this.
but at least I'm only eating that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
put your
Okay, come back, Brooke.
Thank you.
fasting.
Yeah,
Water,
we're starving.
water.
Oh.
Well, this was great today.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think there's a
I
lot
think we
of.
could talk forever about this. It's
Yeah,
it's
this
a
is
huge
great.
topic.
Mhm.
Hey, listen, if
Yeah.
anybody's listening to this, our one listener, if you have any questions or you want to share your stories, send us an email at info@wellness-20.com, and then we will answer those. And if you have questions, we can answer those right on our show.
Yeah.
Or your stories too.
Yeah.
So
And if
thanks
I
so
want to
much.
just add some takeaways from this podcast is
Yeah.
there's a lot of different ways to fast. You can
Mhm.
do intermittent fasting, you can do longer fasts, you can do the Daniel diet, you could do fasting mimicking. So there's a lot of options out there. If you do want more information on it, we did at Wellness 20, we did a book club about it, which
Mhm.
we'll end up doing again. So that's another wealth of information there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If
Well,
you're
good.
interested, just
Well, thanks,
follow us.
everybody.
Give us your email.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.